One day in the future, paper currency won't be printed anymore. And if you've been living in China these past 5 years, you've used only this to complete all of your financial transactions. In this report from the Bank for International Settlements, the world will have 40 digital currencies in circulation within the next 6 years. But are digital currencies actually safe to use? Take a look at this blog post from Anthony Pompliano, a popular Bitcoin investor who claims central bank digital currencies will be one of the greatest violations of human rights in history, creating an environment where central banks have complete control over every aspect of a citizen's financial life. Now, China is the world leader in digital currency, and in today's video, we're going to be analyzing how digital currencies will impact your life in the future. While China is a leader in developing a central bank digital currency, CBDC for short, it most certainly isn't the only country exploring this new technology. 9 out of 10 central banks worldwide are exploring CBDCs, with 2/3 likely to launch within the next 6 years. Money is going digital, and there is simply no turning back. As with most things related to China, there's a lot of fear in the West. But if we take time to understand how China's CBDC works, we learn that China's digital yuan will actually increase privacy for Chinese citizens, and it most certainly will not pose any threat to Western countries around the world. In fact, it will only help other countries, as most likely they're going to be using China's digital yuan to actually increase their trade with China. Let me give you a real-world example to help you better understand. But before I do, let's take a moment to observe the state of the economy right now. 2 years ago, the Federal Reserve printed trillions of dollars to save the American economy during the COVID pandemic. Fast forward to today, and we now have the highest inflation in nearly 40 years and are looking at a possible recession. The S&P is down 18% year to date, and savvy investors are looking for other options. Last month, I introduced my followers to an alternative investment company, Masterworks, which allows individuals to buy shares in some of the world's most famous art pieces, exactly like you would purchase a share of Tesla or Apple stock. From 1995 to 2021, the fine art market has outpaced the S&P by 165%. And most recently, the art market just saw record-breaking auction numbers with the sale of Andy Warhol's Shot Sage Blue Marilyn for a whopping $195 million. So far, Masterworks has sold 3 paintings, each returning 30% net IRR to investors. Of course, past performance is no indication of future results, but 30% is impressive nonetheless. Today's video is all about digital currency and the future of our digital world. I'm sure many of you are savvy investors, and if you are interested in doing more research about art investment and seeing if this would be a great addition to your portfolio, please go to masterworks.art/Cyrus or click the link in the description below. Back to our real world example. Imagine you buy a cup of coffee with your credit card. Your personal details are linked to that card, and both the merchant and the government know exactly who purchased that cup of coffee. I mean, take a look at my credit card. Cyrus Jansen is literally imprinted on this credit card. Digital currencies offer an additional layer of protection because they use the same technology as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They assign a numerical address and not the person's name to the digital wallet. This means that if you bought a cup of coffee in China using a digital currency, the coffee shop and the government can only see the numerical address of your digital wallet. Personal information like your name and your social security number are actually hidden from this transaction. This is the extra layer of privacy and why China's digital currency is actually more secure than Alipay and WeChat Pay, and even more secure than traditional Western credit cards like this. One of the arguments against China's digital currency is that it will give the government the power to financially censor its own citizens. Pompliano goes on to write, "Once a central bank digital currency is in the hands of a population, the central bank has solidified complete control. They will no longer have to go to the court system or invoke emergency powers to tell you who you can transact with." Now, this is a lot of speculation from Pompliano here. He gives an extreme example of someone being overweight and the government controlling which restaurants that person can dine at. Want to go for a burger at McDonald's? Well, no, the Chinese government will simply block your digital currency and they will only allow you to purchase good at healthy restaurants. Again, this is a lot of speculation and a lot of fear-mongering. And to be honest, it's a shallow argument from someone who doesn't understand the real benefits of a central bank digital currency. Pompliano is actually referring to financial censorship, which by the way already exists in our society today. Let's go back to February 2022 when the Justin Trudeau government in Canada began freezing the bank accounts of citizens who donated to a freedom convoy in Ottawa. Even a $20 donation through a crowdfunding website was enough to have your bank account frozen, according to Canadian government officials. These are all great examples of financial censorship, and let's just be honest here. Governments around the world don't need a digital currency to financially censor anybody. If the government deems what you are doing is illegal, they can simply shut down your access to money. Governments don't need a digital currency to do this, And most certainly, digital currencies don't give them new surveillance powers, whether that's in China or in the West. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Cyrus, isn't my money already digital? I mean, I use credit cards and cell phones to pay for everything. What's the difference between this and a central bank digital currency? I'll answer this question with a direct quote from digital currency expert Richard Turin, who states, "Your payments are digital today the way your BlackBerry from 2005 is a smartphone." Translation? No, your money really isn't that digital. Despite all the progress we made with banking and super apps, it still takes 2 to 3 business days to complete an international wire transfer. Digital currencies can complete this transaction instantly and for no cost. Bank transfers can only be processed during business hours, but digital currencies can transfer anytime 24/7. Finally, did you know that the average overdraft fee from an American bank last year was $33? Digital currencies would eliminate these excessive bank fees that cost low-income Americans over $12 billion in overdraft fees in 2020 alone. Simply put, central bank digital currencies would make banking more affordable and accessible for all people. This is the main point of this video and why it's important for people to understand China's vision for developing this digital currency for its population. China's government is not launching a digital currency to have more control over its citizens. China is one of the largest countries in the world and has the world's largest population. China needs a better banking solution to serve its 1.4 billion citizens, many of whom live in rural areas and simply don't have access to an ATM or local bank. This is the role that those digital currencies can play. It makes banking more inclusive and affordable for everyone. Let me give you another great example. The Bahamas is a small nation in the Caribbean, consisting of 700 different islands. For years, many citizens didn't have access to a local bank, as the banks were only located on the major islands in the Bahamas. A few years ago, the Bahamas launched its own version of a digital currency, and this has helped eradicate this problem. Now people in the Bahamas can use digital currency to solve all of their banking needs, no matter where they are in the country. You might be thinking digital currencies might be good for smaller or developing nations, but what about an established country like the United States? Despite being one of the most developed countries in the world, digital currency would be a lifesaver for millions of Americans. According to this Forbes article, 22% of American adults, that's 63 million people, are either unbanked or underbanked, relying on payday advance and pawn shop loans to take care of their finances. Europe is also joining the party with a digital euro bill in early 2023, and as I stated earlier, 90% of the central banks around the world are exploring digital currency options. The bottom line is, credit cards have been around for over 40 years, and our world is ready for a new technology to help advance this digital transformation. CBDCs will bring free and immediate domestic payments that will spur an incredible amount of innovation, exactly like it has done in China. So the next time that you hear China is developing a digital currency to have control over its citizens and to manipulate trade around the world, this is completely false, and this is just simple fear-mongering. China is developing this technology that's actually going to be helping more Chinese citizens out. In addition, they have laid the pipeline for other future world currencies to also become digital. Our world is advancing, and again, this is why I preach so much that we must have a cooperation with China, because China is developing the technology that will literally change the future of our world. Everybody, thanks for taking time out of your day to spend it with me here on YouTube. My name is Cyrus Jansen. If you're interested in digital currencies, investing, and things like this really get you excited, make sure that you check out Masterworks.io. They've been an amazing sponsor of this channel, and honestly, it's one of the most unique investment opportunities that I've seen out there. Everyone, as always, thank you for your amazing support, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.